Yes, today our agenda, write the Java program in Notepad and execute the Java program from command prompt and understand the failures and fix them and re-execute the program. These are all things we have to discuss on that. And today, yesterday, we have to discuss that why we are using that main function and public static void main, and in that main function you have to mentioning on that string and arguments and these are all things. Yes guys, did you understand that? And yesterday, any doubt? Any doubt guys? Did you understand this one? Public static void main and string and arguments. Guys, did you understand? Any doubt?
So please once again repeat, sir, this point.
Okay, sure. Actually, and here, before the start the main function, we have to start that what you call this bracket, curling bracket, left curling bracket and right or curling bracket or flower bracket. So this is the left flower bracket. So before that, before the write this main function, we have to start the flower bracket or curling bracket braces. So here you have to mention on that, mm, uh, and before that main function, you have to write that public static void main. So why you are mentioning this public in the sense, this main function, it can be supported, and each under the main function, you have to write the number of functions you have to write. So each and every function should be accessed from this main function. That's why this main function is the public. This main function is the public. So when you are using this keyword, public keyword, then automatically this main this function is the public function. So whenever you're mentioning this public function under this main function, each and every function should be accessed. So it can be eligible for the accessing from this main function. In that purpose, you have to use this public and static. And static functions also, it can be approaching from this main function. Static in the sense, in one particular variable accessing purpose. For example, so many variables you have to use under this main function. I have to tell that laterally, variables, why you are calling that variables and values, and these are all things. Later I have to discuss on that. Variables in the sense, under this main function you have to use number of variable or number of values. For example, a b c d, in four type of variables are there. For example, a and b and c and d, some variables you have to using under this main function. So here, when you are calling this one particular variable, that is called a b variable. So this b variable having that one value, and a also is having that one particular value and something. But here when you are calling that variable, and each and every variable it can be respond, but not that. You have to calling from only one particular variable b. If you want to call that one particular variable, that b, so on the time it can be responding, it can be respond. So how can you call that in static function? With the using of this static function, when you are using the static, then that particular one variable only it can be respond. So in that purpose you have to use that static. Void in the sense, non-written values purpose, you have to use this void function. The main function, what is that main function? Main function in the sense, for example, just you have to take that one home. So that home, it can be having that number of entrances. For example, bedroom also, it can be having that one particular entrance, and kitchen, it can be having the particular entrance, and how many rooms it can be containing from your home. So each and every area should be having that one particular entrance. But main entrance is having that only one particular house. Each and every house, it can be having the one main door only. In that way. So here, each and every program, It can be having the number of functions is there, but each and every function, if it is execute, so on that purpose, it should be approaching on this main function only. Without this main function, you cannot be execute any function from your program. So in that purpose, you have to use this function. You have to use this function. The function purpose, you have to use that braces. So under this braces, so what you have to function, what you have to function, that function is what you have to using under this programming. So what type of variables you have to, for example, b equal to 10 is there. This value storing purpose, you have to use that one array. So in that array and strings also, so the string also is it can be having that one particular condition also is there, and laterally you have to discuss on that. So how can you represent that string and the arrays and these are all things. And under this main function, and different type of arguments also is available. Each and every main function should be having that string and array and arguments, and these are all is included from your main function. So this is the function, main function. That is the meaning of this main function. Clear, guys? This is the public, and each and every variable should be accessing purpose. You have to use this public and static. One specific variable accessing purpose, you have to use static, and void non-return value purpose, you have to use this void. And main function, each and every function should be in through this main function only it can be functioning, each and every functioning. So in that functioning, it can be accessing that strings, arrays and arguments, and different type of arguments. So that is the meaning of this main function, public static void main function. Clear, guys? Any doubt? Any doubt, guys?
No, sir.
Yeah. This is the main function. After the writing this main function, you have to use that open the curling bracket, and again, so what you have to given that output you should be that output purpose, you have to write on that system. So output purpose, you have to write system dot out dot print. So that output should be using in line. So that line purpose, you have to use that ln. Each and every output should be maintained as a one line. So that maintaining purpose, you have to use that ln, guys. So which content it can be giving that output, that content should be mentioned here only. So if you want to using any text, that is a string, that is called a string. If you want to give the text in that in the text representing purpose, you have to use that within the double quotation. For example, and here what is that, sample program. So close the double quotation and close the bracket. So after the completion of this function, the output function, then you have to close that with the using of that semicolon, right? Semicolon. And here, once again, I repeat this one. Before the using of this main function, we have to start that with the using of this curling bracket, and you have to write the main function. And after the completion of that main function, you have to write, you have to start that braces, and within the braces, and here, so when you open this open braces, then again, definitely you have to close that braces. So how many braces you have to open, that braces you should be closed. Yes, you should be closed. So here you have to open that braces, and here how many braces you have to open from this program, guys?
So
Two, yes. Two braces, yes, exactly. Two braces you have to open. So after the completion of the process, so each and every braces, it can be closed or not. Definitely you have to check out from this notepad. When you write in this notepad, in definitely in manually you have to check out. So here only you have to open, so that braces it can be closed, and here also you have to open that braces, and here you have to close that braces. So this is the paint application actually. So it is not supported from the execution of the Java program. So on that purpose, you have to use that notepad file only. So on that purpose, I have to open that notepad file. So here the notepad file is there. So I have to write on that. One more thing is there, guys. Before the write the program, you should be know that why you are calling that object oriented program. Tell me that, guys. Already previous, I have to given that information. Java is a one type of object oriented program. Yes or no? Java is a object oriented program. Why you are calling
right,
that?
uh,
Hmm.
right once, use anywhere.
Yes, run anywhere,
You,
of course. But this Java program is why that James Gosling it can be launching. That main concept is that Java is a object-oriented program. So how can you understand that object-oriented program? So that is the very most important. So on that purpose, I have to give that in diagrammatically. I have to explain on that. See here, for example, that James Gosling in first time, it can be getting that one big program. This is a program actually. So actually this program development purpose, um, actually time is not as available. Within the time, it cannot be developing this programming. So the development programmers also less programmers is available. So on the time, the definitely that take over that project from that James Gosling. So on the time he get the one idea. So this big program I have to divide it into small programs. So on that purpose, it can be divided into different it can be divided into different type of object, like a object, like a object, like a object. So one moment, guys. So this is the main object. Actually, total program is the main object. So that main object, it can be divided into different type of different sub objects. You have to call that. For example, here, this is the main object. Sorry, this is the main object. This is the main objects, and this is the sub objects. Sub objects. This is the sub objects. So each and every sub object, it can be executed individually. So if you want to execute this sub object, it is not depending on this object. And if you want to execute the sub object, it is not depending on this sub object. So each and every sub objects is like an individual program. So this is also main object. So this main object in finally, after the completion, after the developing and each and every sub objects in interlinked, it can be connected into interlinked. For example, here, the one object to and another object, it can be connected, and another sub-object to and it's another object, and each and every sub-object, it can be uh, end of this program. So previous in childhood, you have to play one game actually. So that is the books game. Here, for example, so see here, this is the one book, and this is the one book, and this is the one book, and this is the one book. Whenever you touch this book, then automatically this book this book is felt on this one, and this one also it can be felt on this one, and this one also is felt on. So when you touch in last book, then automatically one by one it can be felt on that. Yes or no? In the same way, and here, so this is the starting and this is the ending. This ending point, it can be connected into another sub-object. And here, this ending point is connected into a starting point of that another sub-object, and in the same way. So here, this is the final one. So when you start this sub-object, when you execute this sub-object, then automatically one by one sub-objects, it can be executed. This is the object, this is the object, and these are all the sub objects. Clear, guys? So in the same way, each and every software, so that if you want to install that any application software, so that installing purpose, that's the application installing purpose, from that folder, it can be having the startup folder, setup folder. That is the first file. Whenever you set up that, whenever you click on that, double click on that setup file, then automatically it can be stored that file. And after the completion of that file, it can be connected into another file, and it can be connected into another file. And each and every files, it can be interlinked. But you have to start the one file only. That file, after the completion of that ending point, it can be connected into another file. Which file it can be continuous in second file? That file in starting function, it can be interlinked into, and before that file, ending function. So in that way, whenever you start up this one, whenever you start that setup file, then automatically just you have to double click on that one file only. Whenever you double click on that file, then automatically each and every which file is it continuously continuing that setup, then only that file it can be continuous. In the same way, and yesterday I have to given that one formula. What is that? For example, 34 into 54 and divided by 67. So here also in the same way, 34 into 54 is the one, 34 into 54 is the, this is the one function, and this is the second function. This is the second function. Whenever it is completed this 34 into 55, that answer it can be holding that compiler. Then after that answer, it can be goes to divided by 67. Then whenever it is completed the total function, then only it can be given a final answer in the same way. So this programming level also, it can be following in that way. Clear, guys? That's why you have to calling that this is the object, and each and every sub-object, it can be final point, it can be interlinked into another sub-object, and that sub-object, it can be interlinked into another sub-object, and each and every files should be interlinked. So this variable, if it is necessary, why they are establishing this object and sub-objects in the sense, for example, this is the object. From this sub-object, it can be having that um, classes. This is the main object, and this is the sub-object. Each and every sub-object should be, one moment. Sorry. So here you have to use each and every sub-object should be following in these steps. Guys, see here, class, and subclass. Class and subclass. So class in the sense, for example, here, this sub-object executing purpose, you have to take, I have to give that one more example. I have to give that one more example. For example, this is the car. This is the car. This car is like a one program. So this car, it can be moving different ways. For example, here, left side and right side. Sorry, left side and front also, and front side, right side, and back side also. Sorry, in back side, yes. This is the car. So each and every car having that clutch and gear and brake and accelerator. Yes or no, guys? So here, if you want to move in left side, so, and one more thing, steering and steering. So here, if you want to turn in left side, so that left side turning purpose, you have to use that. You have to use that which you want to select, that steering and brake and gear and clutch and accelerator. Yes or no? Guys,
Yes, sir.
respond. Yes.
Yes,
If
sir.
if you want to turn in right side, so that right side purpose also you have to use that clutch, gear, brake, accelerator and steering. If you want to back, so in that back purpose also, you have to use that. What is that? Clutch, gear, brake, accelerator, steering. So here you have to using in repeatedly you have to using um, this options. So these are all the variables. These are all the variables. These variables, this car is the main function. This car is a main function or main object. Main object. This car is the main object. And sub objects. What are that sub objects? Sub objects are the left turn, and right turn, and back and front and front. So here, this is the main object. In that main object, it can be having that left turn, right turn, and front and back. These are all the sub objects. Though each and every sub object, it can be having a variables. It can be having a variables. So here, see, this is the main object, that is a car, like a car, and and this is the left turn, right turn, front, back. These are all the sub-objects. Each and every sub-object, it can be having a variables. That variables are that clutch, this is the variables. Each and every variable, every sub-object, it can be having a same variables. Yes or no? Same variables. But each and every sub-object, it can be having the same variables, but same variables, it can be different type of functionality, it can be using. But in that utilizing purpose, it memory is very high memory. It can be that functioning purpose, you have it can be required that high memory. So on that purpose, you have to using only one sub object. It can be having that variables. That variables, it can be connected into another sub object, and this variables, it can be connected into another sub object, and this variables, it can be interlinked into another sub object, and here also. But functioning is different. For example, if you want to turn in left side, that left side turning purpose, you have to using in little much of clutch and little much of gear and little much of brake only, you have to utilizing from that left turn or right turn. In same functionality or same force, you cannot be using from that sub function from that sub object. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. In the same way. So each and every sub object, it can be having a same variables. In that much of your functioning purpose, it can be having the more memory. So that memory decreasing purpose, you have to use this type of utilization, that is reducing the memory utilization. So in that purpose, thus James Gosling, it can be introducing this type of sub object oriented functionality. So when you're using that object-oriented functionality, then automatically reducing the memory and utilization of time also, it can be reducing, and program execution time also it is reducing. So within the time, you have to execute in bulk of programming or big programmings. So in that way, whenever that James Gosling, it can be introducing this type of technology, then each and every program, it can be easy to understand, and it can be easy to execute, and it can be easy to construct the programs. That is the way of this object oriented program. Clear, guys? Any doubt? Guys, any doubt?
No, sir.
Yes. So clear. Guys, what about others? Please respond.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Yo, yo,
No,
very good.
sir.
Very good. Very good. Good. Excellent. So, and one more thing, and here, this variable accessing purpose, you have to use the one terminology, one technical terminology, that is called a class. That is called a class. Why? Because this clutch variable and gear, and these are all the variables. Actually, from the programming purpose, you have to use that variables. And here you cannot be you cannot be directly access that values. From your Java programming purpose, if you want to calculate that 23 plus 34. So this functionality purpose, you cannot be directly access that 23 and 34. That is final is that 57. Output is the 57, but you cannot calculate in this way indirectly. You cannot be approach in the directly. So on that purpose, you have to use that variable. That is the variable is the characters a equal to 23 and b equal to 34, and finally C equal to output, how much of output it's getting. So here you have to calling that only characters only. You cannot be calling any values. So this is the value and this is the variable. So in programming, terminologies is a bit different actually. You have to learn, you have to identify that. Don't call A, B, C. These are all the variables only. These are all the um, these are all the values only. So these are equal to is the operators. Equal to is the operator. Actually, that is a different class. I have to give that in explanation of that operators and variables, and these are all things, and different type of variables and different type of operators also is there. But here you have to mentioning in small information, guys. You should be understand that. Okay, guys.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So this is the variable and this is the 20 values. And here, if you want to calling this values, that functionality. So from this sub-object purpose, just you have to concentrate on this sub-object. So that sub-object having the different type of classes. See, one object, it can be having the different type of sub-objects. Each and every sub-objects, it can be having the classes. How many classes it can be create? Number of classes you have to create from this sub-object, guys. So this is the object. How many sub-objects you want to create it from that object? Number of sub-objects you want to create. If you in this sub-object, how many classes you want to create? Number of classes you have to create. Guys, understood?
Yes.
Yes. So here, whenever you using that class is a class is the main class, and one if you want to create in one more class, so that is subclass. So on that purpose also you have to use that class only. But under the this class you have to create this and one more class. This is the subclass, and this is the parent class, and this is the child class only. So why you are creating this different type of classes? For example, here you have to use that A, B variables. So that functionality. So if you want to get the C program, C answer, then you have to write, execute this function. So same variable values you have to use, and another functionality. That functionality is C equal to A into B. So this is the this functionality purpose, you have to mention that class, and this function purpose, you have to use one more class. Why? Because the functions is the different. That functions differentiation purpose, differentiation purpose, you have to use that class. But first class, if you want to represent that first class, that is called a parent class. If you want to create an under the main class, that is called a child class. And here also same. This is the main object. This main object, in the sense, that is the parent object, and this is the child object. Under the sub child object, which object you want to create, that is the child object, and from that child object, it is the parent object. Clear, guys? Understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
Why
sir.
why you are creating that classes, and why you are creating that sub objects, and why you are creating that object? So it is necessary. So how much of accessing from that variables from your programming? So this is the in this purpose only you have to create that sub objects and classes and subclasses, and these are all things. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, sir.
So in real time, so from this sample programming purpose also, you have to use that in starting. You have to create that class. Without the creating of that class, you cannot be